Hi, my name is Sidra,
And my name is Marina.
and we will be doing our presentation on aging and driving. So first, we will introduce your topic and give you a little background.
Aging is the time-related deterioration of the physiological functions necessary for survival and fertility. We have a very large aging population of approximately 4,945,060 people aged 65 and older in Canada, and there was an increase of approximately 609,810 people between 2006 and 2011. And according to 2010 California statistics, the 65 years and over aging population is the fastest growing population, which helps to predict that in 2030, 1 in 5 licensed driver will be aged 65 and older. This number is contributed by the baby boomers. In 1950, the demographics of the U.S. was changing because of the baby boomers, and now we see that every day 10,000 baby boomers are retiring and reaching the age of 65. Driving is really important for seniors because it fulfills their transportation needs such as mobility, freedom, independence, self-reliance, and self-expression.
Most seniors are careful drivers, and Statistics Canada states that people over the age of 70 have a higher rate of motor vehicle accident than any age group besides young male drivers. Seniors are also mostly likely to be killed in an accident than anyone else. In the year of 2009, 3.25 million had a driver's license aged 65 and older, and 200,000 out of 3.25 million people were aged 85 or older who had a driver's license. In the same year of 2009, 67% of men who were aged 85 and over had a driver's license compared to 26% of women. Women who are dependent on others, including spouse, is expected to decline since men and women aged 45 to 64 will have a driver's license. 37% of older population in the 90s drove a vehicle in comparison to 11% of women in the same age group. Now we'll get into some recent evidence to support our topic.
Driving helps older people stay independent since they don't rely on others, and this ensures their mobility. Almost 36 million drivers are aged 65 and older in the United States and has increased by 34% from 1999. There is a high risk of an accident as a person ages due to the cognitive and physical ability. On an average daily, 586 adults are injured due to motor vehicle collisions. In 2012, 5,560 old adults were killed and 2,400 were injured in a collision. This is equivalent to 15 adults being killed and 586 injuries on a daily basis. Fatal crashes begin around the age of 70 to 74 years, with the highest age being 85 and older, which is due to health conditions. As an individual ages, vision, cognition, hearing, and physical changes take place which can interfere with a person's driving ability. A fact to be noted is that females have a low death rate than men. The death rate for men is higher. 79% of the older occupants in a car wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash in comparison to 66% of other occupants aged 18 to 64 years of age who were not. Older drivers have a tendency to drive less during bad weather conditions and at night, which reduces accident rates, rather than young people who are careless. It has been proven that older adults are not likely to drink and drive compared to other age group. 7% of adults had a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08 grams in a fatal motor vehicle accident in comparison to 24% of drivers aged 21 to 64 years.
A cohort methodology was conducted where in the background drivers aged 65 and over drive average of 2 billion miles annually, which makes us understand their attitudes and their perceptions.
The method used for this was a web-enabled survey conducted on Americans in the year 2011 and 2013. 1,793 individuals responded, and the age groups were 65 to 69, 70 to 74, and 75 and older.
The results were similar within the three groups. The only differences were that perceptions on speeding and support for speed cameras were different. The reports say that a lot of seniors ran on red lights and they were drowsy driving. The conclusion was that it was a cohort effect versus an age effect, which meant that there was increased fatal injuries happening.
Well, we know this, whether it's from age or other conditions, if you experience increased things like joint stiffness, decreased range of motion, visual changes, hearing changes, these changes can have a dramatic impact on your ability to drive safely. Well, we wanted to put this to the test as well. Dr. Berman is going to demonstrate what happens when you lose some of your physical capabilities. So Dr. Berman, come on out, because she's going to be wearing the GERT Aging Simulation Suit. This is provided by Global Technology Simulators. And this is really this is simulating for you what it may feel like.
This is terrible.
Is it?
It really is.
Jen, you look like
What are
you're
you
going
feeling?
skiing.
I'm feeling tired. I feel like I want to sit down.
So this is designed literally to mimic changes in
Put it
decreased
under.
vision.
Thank you. I feel like my posture, I just want to go like this.
Wait, is this, so this is designed to kind of,
I'm getting zapped too.
Oh, you're being zapped?
This thing is zapping, so I'm like feeling
Makes
like,
you shake.
yeah.
So this is one possible view into what someone who is elderly and impaired with either musculoskeletal issues or visual issues or neurologic issues with a tremor
Hard
might
to
be
concentrate
feeling.
and listen to what she's saying.
I know. You're talking to her. She's like, I
I think you're going to be adorable.
I'm going to
in
be
40
terrible.
years.
Let's see if I can
So
find
just try to transfer. So if you look closely at this outfit, it's designed to limit range of motion, much like, say, arthritis. So she's got these bands on her joints. There are these weights throughout her body because, as we all know,
Oh my!
Is
Oh,
this-
here, try to write your name.
write anything on the piece of paper. These goggles
Are
are
you
designed to
right-handed?
limit range of
Oh
vision.
my
Can
gosh!
you write me a prescription?
That's amazing.
Okay, so I feel like range of motion is done, heaviness, can't see, I can't hear. I can't hear as it is. But, but yeah, like I'm limited.
But
Really?
what's the solution? Because like my in-laws are both 80 and they are both, their faculties are perfect. They're great drivers. They don't have any issues. So it's not really fair to say everyone over a certain
It's not
age.
a number
Sure.
at
So
all.
How do you know?
Well, that's I think why we wanted to highlight this. It's that, and this can happen at any age.
Sure.
You can slowly be losing your vision, your hearing. A lot of times you don't recognize it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why what we're trying to highlight here is if you have anyone in your family who you're worried about, you know, there are driver rehabilitation courses where they can work with you and set up your car to be as safe as possible. But more importantly, if you worry that, say, your elderly parent has visual difficulties, you got to get that checked, hearing checked, because if you're driving, it's impaired. If
Yeah.
you're driving impaired for whatever reason, the statistics, I know you have them in front of you, docs,
Yeah.
are pretty startling.
I mean,
with the number of accidents.
First
that
of all,
can
this
occur.
demographic, this area of the population is really exploding in terms of numbers. You know, the drivers 85 years and older, this is the fastest growing driver demographic in the country, which is a good thing. It means that there are more vibrant people living into their 80s and being active and living independently. But I think the other really important issue for the families of someone like that to consider is it doesn't have to be all or none. You don't have to say, oh, that's it, Dad, no more driving for you at all. Maybe it's you don't drive at night. Maybe it's you don't drive in bad weather.
too far.
Exactly.
Just being in this thing, by the time that I'm 80, I'm hoping that cars will be smarter and that we can just push a button and it'll know where to go.
From the video, we can see that driving for seniors can be a bit risky, so we'll get into how we can improve some skills for seniors when it comes to driving.
In order for older adults to stay safe on the road while driving, they must exercise regularly, which would help enhance flexibility, energy, and strength. Reviewing the side effects of prescription and over-the-counter medicine to reduce any side effects and to know when to drive and when not to drive. It is important to have eyes checked on an annual basis to have the correct glasses and contact lenses. A safe practice to adapt would be to drive during daylight, and if in case an older individual needs to drive at night, then it would be best to find a safe route that are well lit. Easy parking and arrow at intersections to help guide the driver. Other safe practices include pre-planning, leaving one car distance from the car in front of you, Avoid listening to music and radio, and it is best to avoid a cell phone, which includes talking, texting, and best not to eat while driving.
According to an article, it is sufficient to stop driving for elder people if they are experiencing problems with their senses such as vision and hearing. Strength, coordination, and reaction is also important. These abilities decrease as the person ages. Older drivers who are over 75 years of age are involved in fatal accidents due to their physical and cognitive impairment. For a person to drive safely, they must have a good vision, which includes peripheral vision, and the older driver must be able to hear as well as horn or siren. The driver must be able to rotate his or her neck to overlook while changing lanes and sensation in feet for acceleration. A possible warning sign to determine if driving is safe for an elder individual would be a history of falls. Someone who has a history of falls is more likely to be in an accident than any other individual. A person with cognitive impairment, such as a decline in mental and memory skill, is an important factor for elder to avoid driving since it is not safe. It is the physician's responsibility to assess the individual's mental and physical abilities and to further provide a referral for evaluation on driving safety.
This article talks about how physical and mental impairment can lead to poor health quality since elder people will not be mobile and won't be able to drive. And the ones who will be able to drive pose a risk to other drivers and themselves. The newspaper article states that how 31% of elders over 85 years of age and currently driving, and 8% rarely on public transportation, and 5% walk. 1 in 5 older adults are diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia disease, and 17% of them still drive as a form of primary transportation. This article concludes by stating how drivers over the age of 80 must pass a couple tests in order to drive. They must renew their license every 2 years following a vision test and class group education and a road test. Aging and driving is portrayed in the media through various elements such as in the newspaper, on TV, through commercials, in talk shows, etc. Next, we will show you a small Romanian commercial that displays seniors driving with a little twist to catch the viewer's eye. This Globe and Mail article is a form of media that will be further discussed.
On April 21st, 2013, new changes will take effect for all adults over the age of 80. There will be new tests that elder people will need to take, which would include vision, auditory, language skills, memory function, planning and organization, and lastly, motor functioning. A new test is designed that assesses how well an elderly person is able to draw the hands of a clock to 11:10 and to cross the letter H from a row of letters. This test determines the basic skills a person needs to have, which I just mentioned. These two new exercises are the new test, and in addition, elder drivers will be given group education with other further assessments to determine if he or she can drive or not. This article talks about how impaired cognition, vision, and dementia can affect a person's driving ability. Elders over the age of 70 rank second in motor vehicle accidents according to Statistics Canada. Ontario even requires physicians to report any conditions that will interfere with driving. Alberta has medical tests for anyone over the age of 75, and any driver who has seen an elder person driving dangerously must be reported as soon as possible.
There was a survey done on 479 people, and out of that, 406 people reported driving and 73 people stopped. 57% of men and 81% of women avoid driving in bad or certain weather conditions. 1/3 of men and 2/3 of women do not drive at night or in bad weather conditions. About 10% of men and 15% of women stop driving due to physical impairment, and 40% of elderly individuals stop driving due to vision-related issues.
It is common for older adults to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease and any form of dementia and will eventually stop the adult from driving. It is exceptionally safe to drive in the early stages, but later on it will not be safe. 28% of people, which are 20,000 people, which includes 13,000 men aged 65 and over in 2009, were diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia and yet had a driver's license. As their disease progressed to higher stages, which is stage 5 or 6, advanced stage of the disease, the cognitive ability decreases, and this leaves only 7,000 older adults with licenses.
Alzheimer's is a neurological disease which causes memory loss and cognitive decline. This disease causes the brain cells to die within the brain and only gets worse over time with no cure. Growing old has many effects that come naturally as a person ages, which includes the 5 senses, reflex, flexibility, and strength. And all of these things decrease as age increases. The physical changes that comes with age, including Alzheimer's disease, which only makes life more difficult, would not be able to drive, since it is important to be able to see and hear other vehicles, control the car, sudden stops when needed. In terms of how Alzheimer's affects driving is not only the physical impairment of the body, including the brain, but the person may also have trouble with direction or remembering the destination and confusing between the colors of the light, which can be dangerous while driving. Majority of the experts do not recommend driving for adults who have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
As most seniors retire from the workforce, they desire to stay more active in the community and try to run their own errands, which requires transportation. Staying home all day is not realistic, so it is key to have an adequate transportation for traveling purposes. Since seniors are old and may be unsafe for them to drive due to their aging body, will raise safety concerns in the driving world.